The Zerath Collective had guarded the Vault of Echoes for thousands of years. It was not a place of beauty, nor a place of warmth. The structure floated in the void, a massive cube of stone and metal, turning slowly at the farthest edge of the Orion Arm. No windows shone upon its surface and no signal escaped its walls. The Collective had built stations around it, fleets to protect it, and laws to forbid anyone from even approaching its great sealed gates. Every race in the Collective knew the stories. The vault was old, older than their oldest histories, older than their star maps. Some said it was a prison. Others said it was a library left by beings who had shaped the stars themselves. Whatever it was, none had ever passed its doorway. Every attempt, no matter how advanced, had failed, and yet, on one quiet cycle, something unusual happened. A ship appeared. It was not a Zerath war cruiser, nor the gleaming vessel of the Kalari scholars, nor the fractal crafts of the insectoid Harun. No, it was a human ship, small, worn, and unimpressive compared to the fleets stationed nearby. The watchers on the stations expected it to turn back or be destroyed by the defense grid, but the grid did not fire. The humans did not send a message. They did not ask for permission. They simply moved closer, their engines glowing like the eyes of a stubborn animal. "Identify yourselves," the Zerath commander demanded across open channels. His voice was sharp, mechanical, layered with tones of authority. "You are violating restricted space. Retreat at once." There was no reply. The ship continued forward. The commander grew uneasy. No one ignored the Collective. Even the most reckless raiders and smugglers would at least shout defiance before being destroyed. But this ship? Silent, purposeful, almost calm. As the human craft reached the perimeter, the fleets activated their weapons. Bright energy cannons locked onto the target. Yet before a single order could be given, something impossible occurred. The vault's great doorway, a slab of metal and stone that had never opened in recorded history, shifted. The Zerath commander froze. His crew froze. Entire fleets, watching across dozens of screens, froze. The gate was opening. A slow crack spread across its center, ancient mechanisms groaning, dust scattering like cosmic ash. Light leaked out, soft and golden, as though the vault itself had been waiting. And the humans. They did not hesitate. Their small ship slid through the widening crack, passing into the unknown. The doorway sealed shut behind them. For a long time, no one spoke. The commander felt the silence press against him like the weight of a black hole. His hands hovered over the controls, uncertain. His orders were clear. No one was ever allowed inside. Yet here it was, too late to stop, too late to undo. One of his officers whispered what everyone was thinking. How did they do that? The Collective had spent centuries trying to force the vault open. They had used plasma cannons, quantum drills, gravity hammers. They had sung to it in alien harmonies, sacrificed resources beyond measure, and begged their most brilliant scientists to solve its mystery. All had failed, and now a single human ship had slipped through its door, as if it had always belonged there. The commander replayed the moment again and again, searching for tricks, errors, or sabotage. But the recordings did not lie. The vault had opened willingly. The galaxy was watching. Across distant systems, news of the event spread like fire through dry fields. Traders carried whispers. Politicians demanded answers. Scholars argued on public channels. How could it be humans? Why them? The humans were young compared to the other civilizations. Their ships were smaller. Their fleets were fewer. Their technology, though clever, was nothing remarkable. And yet, they had done what no one else had managed. Inside the vault, silence followed. No signal escaped. No sensors pierced its walls. The humans had vanished, but their act had left ripples that no one could ignore. Some called it blasphemy. The Kalari priests claimed the humans had broken a sacred law, and that doom would follow. The Harun, more practical, demanded the Collective, mobilized to surround the vault with even greater fleets lest whatever was inside escape. Others whispered something more dangerous, admiration, for what the humans had done was not just bold, it was audacious, it was reckless, it was human. The Zereth commander sat alone in his chamber, replaying the final image before the vault's door closed. The small ship, drifting into the golden crack of light, steady and unafraid. No hesitation, no broadcast, no negotiation. He thought of the humans he had encountered before, their strange laughter, their stubborn pride, the way they rushed headlong into challenges that wiser beings avoided. He had dismissed them as fools once. Now he wasn't so sure. "What are you after?" he murmured into the silence. No answer came, only the echo of the question in his mind. The galaxy held its breath. Because somewhere beyond that sealed doorway, humanity had entered the forbidden place, and everyone. The vault of echoes had swallowed the human ship whole. Once the door closed, the golden light vanished, and the massive cube became silent again, just as it had been for ages. To the fleets of the Zerath collective circling nearby, it was as though nothing had changed at all, but everything had changed. Inside, the humans disappeared from every scanner. No heat signature, no radiation trail, no transmissions. The vault allowed no sound, no signal, no evidence of what lay beyond its threshold. To those watching from the outside, it was as if the humans had stepped into emptiness. The Zerath commander paced his command chamber. His 4 insect-like limbs tapped the ground in nervous rhythm, his eyes fixed on the blank monitors. Nothing. He slammed one clawed hand against the console. "They are not broadcasting," he hissed. "Not even a beacon." "Maybe their ship was destroyed," one officer said quietly. The commander turned sharply, his eyes glowing. "No." They walked inside. The vault opened for them. It does not destroy what it welcomes. The room fell silent again. Every officer felt it. The weight of the unknown. Far inside the vault, the human crew moved slowly down a corridor of stone and light. Captain Mira Halden led them, her boots echoing softly on the floor. The air was heavy but breathable. Strange symbols pulsed faintly along the walls, shifting and reshaping as if alive. They carried no weapons in hand. They spoke no words. From the moment they entered, something pressed against their minds, urging them to be still. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't painful, but it was expectant. Mira raised her hand, signaling for the crew to halt. She looked around, her eyes sharp, calm. She could feel it too. The vault was listening. She whispered, "Keep quiet. We're guests here." Her crew nodded. Even the young ensign, usually nervous, kept his silence. They moved forward like shadows. Meanwhile, outside, the galaxy grew restless. The Kalari priests broadcast across the stars, their voices trembling with fear. "They have broken the sacred seal. They walk where no mortal should walk. Calamity will follow." The Haroon war leaders disagreed. "Then we must be ready. If the vault opens again, what comes out may not be human. It may be worse," and, in countless markets and spaceports, ordinary citizens whispered in awe. Humans, the reckless, short-lived newcomers of the stars, had gone where no ancient power dared. Some laughed at the madness. Others felt something else rising in their hearts, hope. Because if the humans could step into the silence of the forbidden place, maybe there were doors for everyone, waiting to be opened. Back inside, Mira's team reached a vast chamber. The ceiling arched high above them, glowing faintly like a sunrise trapped in stone. Pillars stretched toward the sky, carved with images none could understand. The humans spread out, their footsteps soft. No dust clung to the floor, no decay marked the walls. It was as if the place had been waiting, untouched, for this very moment. One of the crew, a linguist named Aran, stared at the symbols. His hands twitched, wanting to take notes, but he forced himself still. His voice nearly broke the silence, but he bit it back. The vault was not just a building. It was alive in some way, watching, listening. And so the humans said nothing. They moved deeper. At each turn, doors opened without resistance. Hallways glowed as they approached. It was as if the vault itself guided them, showing them a path chosen. Long before they arrived, the Zerath commander received no updates, no signals, nothing but silence from within. He stood before the council, dozens of alien faces staring from across the hollow chamber. "They are gone," he said grimly. "We do not know what they are doing." An elder Kalari, her voice trembling with age, leaned forward. "Then we must assume the worst. They will bring something out with them, something that was meant to stay hidden." A Harun general snarled. "Or perhaps they will not return at all. Perhaps the vault has claimed them." The council broke into arguments, voices overlapping like storms. The commander remained still, his mind caught not by their fears, but by the image replaying endlessly. In his head, the humans entering without hesitation, without a word, as though they already belonged there. Why silence? He whispered to himself. Why no message? Inside, Captain Mira paused again. She touched the smooth wall, feeling warmth beneath her palm. She thought of the ships waiting outside, of the countless eyes watching and waiting. She could almost hear their demands for answers, their hunger for knowledge. But she refused to speak. She understood now. The vault had not opened to technology, nor to force, nor to desperate prayers. It had opened to something else. Trust. The humans walked in. The shining door loomed before the humans, tall and endless. Unlike the others, it did not open for them. It simply stood still, glowing softly, as if waiting for something more. Captain Mira Halden lowered her hand. The warmth of the door lingered against her skin. She turned to her crew. Their faces were tense, but their silence was steady. None of them asked what came next. None of them demanded answers. They trusted her, and more importantly, they trusted the vault. Mira thought back to the endless warnings from other civilizations. Never enter, never disturb, never touch. And yet here they were, standing before the innermost gate. The vault had led them this far, but now it seemed to be testing them. What does it want? Whispered Aaron, the linguist, breaking silence for the first time. The sound felt heavy, almost wrong, as if his voice did not belong in this place. The door pulsed faintly once, then grew still again. Mira's eyes narrowed. It wants us to stop hiding, she said softly. One by one, the crew began to understand. They looked down at themselves, their suits, their helmets, the layers of devices strapped to their bodies. They had come prepared for danger, filters, scanners, weapons, armor. All the tools of survival. But maybe that was the problem. Mira unclipped her helmet and lifted it away. The air that touched her face was heavy, thick with strange scents, but it did not choke her. She set the helmet gently on the floor. The crew stared, stunned. Captain, one of them began. She shook her head. No walls between us and this place. That's what it wants. The vault pulsed again, brighter this time, as if agreeing. Slowly, uncertainly, the others followed. Helmets were removed, gloves pulled free, armored plates unsnapped and laid down. The sound of metal striking. Stone echoed softly in the chamber. It felt wrong, vulnerable. Every other civilization layered themselves in protection. The Zerath wrapped themselves in exoskeleton armor. The Kalari carried ritual shields. The Harun never entered a battle without layers of living armor grown around their bodies. But here were humans, shedding everything, outside, in the watch. Stationed circling the vault, the Zerath commander paced. He could see nothing of what happened within, but strange fluctuations rippled across the sensors. Energy waves rose and fell like breaths. What are they doing in there? His officer asked. The commander clenched his claws. Something no one else would dare. Something only humans would think to try. The galaxy had always mocked humans for their fragility. Their skin tore easily. Their bones broke. Their lives were short compared to the long centuries of other species. Yet here, perhaps, that weakness was their strength. They were used to standing unprotected against the universe, They were used to facing the cold, the hunger, the storms, and now they were proving it. Inside, Mira stood in nothing but her undersuit, her weapons and armor lying in a pile behind her. She stepped forward, closer to the door of light. "The vault," responded. The glow shimmered, spreading like ripples across water. A hum filled the chamber, deep and resonant, like the heartbeat of a world. The crew watched with wide eyes, some trembling, but none stepping back. Stripped of their defenses, they felt the air differently. The warmth of the stone, the faint vibrations of the hum, the strange rhythm that seemed to match their own pulses. One of them whispered, "It feels alive." Mira did not answer. She placed her bare hand against the glowing door once more. This time, the light did not resist. It embraced her. Warmth flooded through her arm, into her chest, into her mind. She gasped softly, but did not pull away. Images flickered at the edge. Of her thoughts, stars being born, rivers flowing, hands reaching across ages. The door was showing her something, not with words, but with feelings, with trust. Far away, the council argued louder than ever. Some demanded fleets be sent into the vault itself to drag the humans back. Others feared even approaching now. They stripped themselves bare before the unknown, cried a Kalari priest. "It is madness." "No," growled the Haroon general. "It is courage." And somewhere, deep inside every watching species, a thought whispered, "Would I dare to do the same? Would I undress before the unknown, trusting it not to destroy me?" Most knew the answer was no. That was why the humans were different. Back in the chamber, the door of light began to shift. The glowing surface folded back like liquid, revealing a path beyond. The vault had accepted them. The crew stood stunned. The youngest ensign whispered, "All this time, all these years, and it only wanted us to trust?" Mira nodded slowly. Her face was calm, but her eyes shone with something fierce. That's why no one else could pass. They came with fear. They came with walls. But not us. Not today. She glanced at the pile of armor and tools behind them. To leave such things behind went against every instinct. Yet as she stepped through the door of light, she felt lighter than ever. Her crew followed, one by one, their footsteps echoing softly. They carried nothing but themselves. No weapons, no shields, no voices, only silence, and the courage to be bare. Outside, the watchers saw nothing, only a faint pulse of golden light that rippled across the vault's surface before fading again. Zerath Commander stared at the monitor. His heart thudded in his chest, though he did not understand why. He whispered, almost in awe, "They took off their armor." His officer frowned. Why would anyone do that? The commander's gaze was fixed on the silent cube. He knew the answer already, though it frightened him. "Because they are human," he said softly. "And humans face the impossible. Naked." Humans stepped through the doorway of light, leaving behind their armor, their tools, and every layer of protection. The air on the other side was warmer, almost soft, and filled with a faint golden glow. It felt less like entering a room and more like stepping into a dream. Captain Mira Halden led the way, her crew close behind. Their footsteps made no sound, on the smooth floor, as if even the ground respected their silence. The chamber was vast, stretching farther than their eyes could follow. Strange patterns floated in the air, symbols of light that shifted and twisted like smoke. They hung above the humans, studying them, waiting. No weapons could help here. No translation device could make sense of the symbols. All they had was themselves. Back outside, the galaxy was watching. Every fleet circling the vault stared at their monitors, desperate for any clue. No signals came out, but faint energy pulses flickered across the surface of the cube. They were rhythmic now, steady, almost like a heartbeat. The Zerath commander leaned forward, his claws tapping against the console. "It's alive," he muttered. His officer tilted her head. "Alive? The vault?" The commander nodded slowly. "Not just a machine, Not just stone. It responds to them. It responds to humans. Across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than light. The humans had been silent for hours, but everyone felt it. The moment was building toward something. Inside, Mira raised her eyes toward the swirling symbols of light. For a long moment, she simply looked at them. They shifted slowly, almost cautiously, as though they were waiting for her to speak. But she remembered what the vault had demanded before: silence. So she did not say a word. Instead, she did something different, something only a human would think to do. She smiled. It was not a wide grin or a cruel smirk. It was quiet, steady, and filled with something the galaxy often mistook for arrogance: confidence. The corners of her mouth lifted as her eyes softened, and she let herself feel no fear. The vault reacted at once. The glowing symbols above her rippled violently, then brightened. A hum shook the air, low at first, then rising like the sound of stars singing. Her crew staggered, shielding their eyes, but Mira kept smiling. The symbols shifted faster now, breaking apart, reforming, and then, for the first time, they shaped themselves into something the humans could understand. A face. It was faint, woven of light, but clear enough. 2 eyes. A mouth, features almost human. The face hovered above them, and then it smiled back. Outside, alarms blared across the collective's fleets. "Energy spike," shouted a Zerath technician. "It's coming from inside the vault." The commander's eyes locked on the screens as golden light flared across the surface of the cube. Patterns appeared, spreading like fire across stone. And then, on every monitor, every broadcast channel tuned to the vault, an image appeared. T2, face of a human woman. She was smiling. The council chambers across the galaxy fell silent. The Kalari priests trembled. The Harun generals snarled in confusion. Billions of ordinary people stared, transfixed. There were no words, no speech. Just that smile, calm, fearless, mischievous. It was enough to shake the galaxy. Inside the vault, Mira lowered her hand and stepped forward. The face of light followed her movements. She could feel warmth around her, pressing close but not crushing, guiding but not forcing. Her crew whispered nervously, but Mira stayed calm. She tilted her head slightly, still smiling at the glowing face. She did not ask questions. She did not beg for answers. She only showed what humans always showed when standing before the unknown: curiosity without fear. The vault responded in kind. The chamber walls melted away, replaced by visions. Stars forming from dust, oceans rising and falling, cities of light, long destroyed, rising again in memory. 1,000 ages passed before their eyes, each one filled with voices, faces, and laughter that did not belong to any living species of the present. Her crew gasped. But Mira, she smiled. The Zerath commander stared at the glowing broadcast, his chest heavy. He had seen. The light swallowed the humans as the vault shifted once more. Walls that had seemed solid melted away, opening into a vast chamber that felt larger than any starship or station. The golden glow pulsed like the heartbeat of something ancient, steady and powerful. Captain Mira Halden stepped forward first, her crew close behind. None of them carried armor now. No helmets, no weapons, no shields. Only themselves. Yet Mira felt no fear. The vault had accepted them. High above, shapes appeared in the air, vast rings of symbols flowing and rearranging like galaxies spinning through the void. Mira could not read them, but she felt their meaning press against her thoughts. This was not just a chamber. It was a memory. Outside, the galaxy trembled. Every screen in every ship, station, and council chamber still carried the projection of the human captain's face. That smile lingered, calm and confident, before the image dissolved into golden light. "What does it mean?" shouted one Kalari priest. "What is it showing us?" The Zerath commander, still watching from his post, answered softly. It is not showing us, it is showing them. Who? The humans? Yes. The vault does not speak to us, it speaks to them. The council chambers erupted in arguments. Some demanded fleets prepare for war. Others whispered of surrender before an unknown power. Yet through it all, the same thought kept returning. Why the humans? Inside, Mira and her crew stood in awe as the chamber shifted again. The golden light bent into shapes, cities rising and falling, rivers flowing, forests growing. Then came faces. Not human faces, but something close. Tall beings of light, their forms delicate yet strong, their eyes bright with endless knowledge. Aaron, the linguist, whispered, "The first ones." Mira nodded slowly. She had heard the myths. Every species had. Stories of beings who shaped the early stars, who spread seeds of life across the galaxy before vanishing into silence. None had ever believed those stories were more than legends, but the vault was showing them truth. The first ones were real, and they had left this place behind. The visions grew clearer. The humans saw the first ones shaping worlds, guiding the growth of countless young species. They watched them light suns and carve rivers, teaching by example, never by chains. Then the visions darkened. The first ones were gone, leaving only silence and the vault. The golden voice pressed gently into Mira's mind. We waited. Mira's breath caught. She could feel the weight of it. Millennia of silence. Millennia of watching, guarding. Waiting not for the strongest fleet, not for the brightest scholars, but for something else. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "You were waiting for us." The light pulsed in agreement. Her crew gasped. The idea seemed impossible. Humans were young compared to the great powers of the galaxy. They were fragile, reckless, still learning. Why would the vault wait for them? But Mira understood. Humans carried something the others had forgotten. The Zerath built walls of law. The Kalari buried themselves in ritual. The Haroon clung to their endless battles. All of them wore layers of protection, too afraid of the unknown. Only humans dared to step forward bare, unshielded, and smile at the impossible. That was what the vault had been waiting for. Not strength, not technology, but courage. Outside, the council grew frantic as their sensors detected new waves of energy from within the vault. The Haroon general slammed his claws against the table. They are unlocking it. Whatever weapon lies within will belong to them. Alone. The Kalari priest shook her head, trembling. Not a weapon, a gift. But why them? Why humans? The Zerath commander remained quiet. He replayed in his mind the captain's calm smile, her fearless step through the door, her decision to shed her armor. He felt something in his chest he could not name. Not fear, not anger. Something closer to admiration. Inside, Mira stood tall as the visions surrounded her. She felt the presence of the first ones pressing gently at the edge of her mind, not overwhelming but welcoming. They were not gods. They were not rulers. They were teachers, and humanity had been chosen to inherit their lessons. Her crew stared, at her waiting. Mira closed her eyes, steadying herself. "What do you want us to do?" she asked softly. The vault answered not with words, but with a feeling. Remember who you are. Carry forward what others have forgotten. Open doors where others fear to knock. Mira's eyes opened. She understood. The vault was not giving them power. It was reminding them of the power they already had. The chamber slowly dimmed, returning to silence. The visions faded, leaving only the soft glow of the walls. But the message remained carved into every human heart present. Aaron whispered, voice shaking, We are heirs." Mira corrected him gently. "No, not heirs. Students." She turned, to face her crew. Their faces were pale but determined. Each of them felt the same truth. They had not come to claim treasure or weapons. They had come to be reminded of what it meant to be human, and that was enough. Outside, the vault pulsed once more, casting a golden wave across the void. The fleets staggered as their sensors were blinded. When the light faded, every monitor showed only one image: the humans standing unarmed before the glowing chamber, and Captain Mira Halden, her head lifted high, her eyes steady, her lips curved into that same calm, fearless smile. Billions watched across the galaxy. Some trembled, some cursed, but many felt their hearts stir. For in that smile, they saw not conquest, not arrogance, but something rarer. They saw hope. The vault of echoes grew quiet once more. The visions faded, the light dimmed, and silence pressed against the humans like a living thing. Yet the weight that had once felt heavy now felt different, lighter, almost comforting, like the stillness after a storm. Captain Mira Halden stood at the center of the great chamber, her crew behind her. None of them spoke. None of them needed to. They all carried the same knowledge now, etched into their hearts. The first ones had not given them weapons, machines, or secrets of war. They had given them something far greater: the truth of who they were. Outside, the galaxy waited with bated breath. On every screen, in every council hall, in every dark corner of every station, the image of the humans remained. The captain stood, tall, unarmed, unafraid, smiling still. The sight unsettled many, but it also stirred something unexpected. For the other species, it was almost unthinkable. To walk into the forbidden place, unarmed, to strip away layers of protection, to face the unknown and smile. No one else would have done it, only humans. Within the vault, a low hum vibrated through the chamber. The golden doorway behind them began to open once more. It was time to leave. The youngest ensign hesitated. "Captain, what if they don't believe us? What if they twist what we saw?" Mira turned, her expression calm but fierce. "Then we show them, not with words, not with claims, with who we are. That's the only proof that matters." Her crew nodded. They understood. The humans stepped back through the golden gate, their bare hands brushing the smooth light as they passed. One by one, they emerged into the outer chambers where their discarded armor and tools still lay in neat piles. Yet none of them reached for their weapons. None of them picked up their armor. They had entered the vault as explorers. They left it as something more. When they reached the outer door, it opened as easily as it had before. A crack spread across the massive surface, golden light spilling into the void. The human ship waited just beyond, and the galaxy waited with it. The Zerath commander watched in silence as the humans emerged. His claws trembled, but not from fear. At least not only from fear. It was something deeper. Something he could not name. "They're coming out," his officer said. The commander nodded slowly. "And they are not the same as when they went in." Every fleet around the vault prepared weapons, unsure of what to expect. The Kalari priests shouted warnings of blasphemy. The Haroon generals demanded the humans be captured at once. The council members argued across open channels, their voices full of fear. But then the humans appeared on the monitors. No weapons, no shields, no anger. Just a woman standing at the front of her crew, looking directly into the cameras that broadcast her face across the galaxy. She smiled. The sight froze the galaxy. Billions who had doubted, billions who had cursed, billions who had feared, stopped. In that smile they saw no threat, no arrogance, no lies. They saw something impossible to deny: courage. The captain's lips moved, her voice quiet but steady, carried on every channel, in every language, to every corner of the stars. "We found nothing inside the vault that we did not already carry, within ourselves. The vault reminded us who we are, and we are human." The Haroon general roared in anger. "Empty words. They take the vault for themselves." But the Zerath commander shook his head. "No. Look at them. They carry nothing out. They claim no treasure. They make no demands." The Kalari priest trembled. Then, what did they gain? The commander answered softly. What all of us lost. On distant worlds, people who had never trusted humans before felt something stir in their chests. For generations they had feared the vault as a curse, yet the humans had walked inside and returned alive, not because of strength, not because of technology, but because they dared to face it without fear. For the first time, the galaxy understood. Being human was not weakness. It was a kind of strength no other species had kept, the strength to step into the unknown, the strength to strip away walls, the strength to smile at the impossible. Back aboard their ship, Mira stood by the viewport, watching the vault shrink in the distance. Her crew,